Okay, we're going to do a little bit of quick after show. I guess we'll just cut to the chase. I'm up against time. Talked about Jack, talked about the job, talked about the guy that you lusted after but can't remember, which is now you know how men feel. The whole adoption thing and everything with that, what advice would you give to people that are looking for or on the fence about it? I mean, it seems like one of your parameters is age.
Yeah, I think you need to know who you are and you need to be comfortable with yourself, because what you find out could be amazing and it could be not so great. And if that's going to affect how you feel about yourself, maybe you shouldn't look. If you're going to do it, I would test on Ancestry. I would test on 23andMe. I would upload that stuff to GEDmatch, which is a free site, and start building out your tree. And just be prepared to hear good stuff, be prepared to hear bad stuff, and be prepared to wait, because not everybody gets those answers very quickly.
Now, even now with this, are you prepared to walk away from this finding if it were to go south or something?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know, because right now, you know, we have a nice relationship. We talk to each other every couple days. We're still getting to know each other. I think for my birth father, it's been more of a, wow, I have somebody else out there in the world I didn't know about. And, you know, he even said to me, I didn't know. Are you mad at me? No. Why would I be mad? But it's a different feeling for me from my birth mother, because my birth mother's had 51 years to think about
Yeah,
this.
she knew.
She knew. So if she's not interested in something, I think I'd probably feel more like, why not? You know, what's the reasoning? Is it because you have a husband that you've been married to that long that you never told? Then I could understand. But I see things on different adoption sites I belong to where people say, you know, oh yeah, the birth mother didn't want anything to do with me. You know, I was a secret. Well, okay, you know, as an adoptee, I have every right to know my family as well as they have a right to know me, even if that's a secret.
But if you're in your 70s, it's like, come on. You know, it's not like anybody's going to leave anybody or anybody at that point.
It's surprising. Or siblings that are like, oh no, I'm not going to accept a new sibling. Fortunately, my half sister is really nice and she's been welcoming. We went out, we had lunch, and she's going to meet her nieces for the first time tomorrow.
But if it were like worst case scenario, which is what I'm thinking in my head and why I would never do anything like that, you know, what if you're sitting there eating dinner and they say something like, so this weekend we're going to the Supremacist rally. Would you like to go? Would you just check, please?
I literally, okay, you know me so well. I would not be able to keep my mouth shut. So after I gave them a whole talking to, yeah, I probably would never see them again because, yeah, I always side on kindness. And if you're doing that, that's not cool.
There's not a lot of wiggle room.
No, not at all.
Did working for a small business owner like Jack, did that help you become a small business owner?
Oh my gosh. Seriously, if it was not for Jack, I don't think either Jim or myself would have had the courage to open up the business. I mean, we've been in business since 94, long time. And I really learned how to treat people, how not to treat people.
You couldn't have done it without Jack, and Jim couldn't have done it without you. He had the skill, but he wouldn't have done it.
Correct.
I mean, you in the beginning, and for his own good, rode him like a rented mule. Yeah. You know?
Hey, sometimes no. But,
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, we're a good team because, Jim does the actual work and I do all the office stuff, the quotes. And remember, at some hole in the wall, I did all the quotes and the bids and everything. And I still do that. And, I learned how to price stuff out, how to do inventory or not how to do inventory,
right.
As the case may be.
Yeah, whatever you need.
Exactly. Yeah, I would not be where I am if it wasn't for Jack. Yeah. How about you?
I feel the same way. I mean, it was right after my mother died, and he was. I can't say Jack was kind because that was his nature, but he cared.
Yeah.
He cared.
He would do anything for you.
Yeah, he would. And he'd mock you along the way, which is...
But that was charming. Listen, you're sarcastic.
I know.
I'm incredibly sarcastic.
I'm not throwing a stone.
Exactly.
It would be a little hypocritical. Hypocrisy vortex would open and suck the studio. And if I said that I was completely against that, but he was a master. If you take you and I and kick it up a notch.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. I can remember, and we can't even say the things that he would say.
Oh, gosh, no.
When he'd go into the Jewish diner, and Jack was Jewish.
Okay, my favorite memory of him. Do you remember? Okay, so we had a good quarter, and Jack took us all to the Bahamas. We went with Morty, our accountant, Tony from Abco, who's one of our distributors, and it was Stauffer, you, myself.
That was it.
That was it. Okay, so first of all, I can't believe my parents let me go away with a bunch of guys.
Right.
Okay, so that was weird, but whatever. But we're sitting in the restaurant, and do you remember how bad the service was? And we were all sunburned and wanted something to eat and couldn't get the waitress's attention. Jack and Morty picked up a basket of rolls and started pelting the waitress with rolls.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah. You can't do any of this now, and there's probably a reason. That trip, I don't understand how that trip... It was the kind of weird thing he would do because he was tired of everybody fighting for vacation time or whatever. And he said, we're going to shut the store down and we're all going to take a vacation together.
And I'm paying for the whole thing.
I'm paying for the whole thing. And how do you argue with that?
Right. And I wasn't even old enough to gamble. So we're down there in the casino and you could be 18 down there. So that was great. So he gave me $10. And I looked at him, I said, I don't gamble. Even till this day, I don't gamble. And he gave me a $10 bill. He said, listen, I'm giving this to you. Go see if you can win some money. I came back with the same $10 bill and handed it back to him because I played.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, it was such a fun trip. But you're right. And we got to the point where when I'd want days off and I'd tell him, he'd always forget. So I used to make him sign the calendar when I highlighted it.
Yeah, he would always forget and call you if you took a day off. Where are you? What are you doing here? And it was... I don't think people have that opportunity. I think HR departments have ruined people's ability to get jobs like that and just work for the owner and work for that personality. And I think it's been ruined that you can't have Jack's personality and not be in court all day instead of running a business.
It's true. I mean, can't say it on the air, but you do remember the whole bathroom incident, right?
I remember him shouting out at the country club diner, and it's like, Jack, stop! So you can't say this, even though you're saying it. You can't say any of this, and he made you always feel so politically correct because you're Jack, stop! You can't say that.
Yeah, or you'd be walking out, and there was like the thing of the different color little chocolate covered mints. He literally grabbed my pocket of my jacket. I didn't feel it. And all of a sudden, my pocket is spewing mints because he was filling it up.
Well, and the impact of him is felt because I had Ted McKee on here, federal judge, who still remembers him. And we ended up at the end of the show telling Yiddish jokes or something because Jack had his horrible jokes.
Jack had the worst jokes ever. The absolute worst, but he was such a great guy to work for. I mean,
he was, and it's one of those people that there will never be another. There will never be another, and it's probably for the best.
No, he was great.
There will never be another, and I think back, because it was first job and everything, but it just it really had some good memories, and I think that shaped both of us in different ways that I don't see people getting out of school now having the ability to meet people in that capacity. You're working for these cold, sterile companies.
Oh, absolutely. This is stuff that he said would land you in court.
Yeah. And he had a good enough sense of humor where he could take it if you dished it out too.
Yep. And didn't you learn how to treat people from him? Because he really... we were talking about this a little bit before we went on the air that, sometimes as a woman, people didn't treat me like, oh, hey, you can fix my computer or you can do this. Again, we're talking about a long time ago where there was a lot more discrimination. And I remember specifically one customer coming in. I'll tell you off the air who it was, but I know you'll remember the situation. Place burnt down and they needed something fixed. And, put the computer across the desk from me and said, it's an easy fix. Get it done now. And I pushed it back. I said, if it's so easy, do it yourself. And Jack sat there and laughed. And he always supported when somebody was rude to me, whatever I said.
Yeah, he always backed his staff up.
Yeah.
He always backed his staff up. And I remember him saying once, after backing one of us up, remember my motto, the customer's always wrong.
Exactly.
And, there could be a little bit more of that. And I think that one of the things is that Jack is kind of my model for when people talk about discrimination stuff. And I think Mark Twain said something to the effect of, I don't believe in discrimination. There's so many reasons to dislike people on an individual basis. Well, Jack was like that. He didn't pick on anybody. He picked on everybody. Correct. And that's what it's supposed to be. Everybody should be fair game. Not just one person, not just one group, but it was everybody. I never got the feeling that Jack was racist, sexist, anyist. He was everythingist.
Yeah, he was funny. I mean, you couldn't, if you didn't have a sense of humor, you could not work there.
No, you couldn't.
You couldn't be uptight. That was like a prerequisite.
He wouldn't allow it. And yeah, I mean, and I think the best thing is that you have somebody. The best tribute to somebody is when two people are sitting talking about them years later, and that's kind of his legacy. It's kind of his legacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have anything else you want to say about adoption before we close it out?
If you're curious, no time like the present, because not all of us are going to live forever. So
what's the minimum age you would say to do it at?
I think you need to be comfortable with yourself.
Whatever time that takes,
and know who you are. I mean, most 18-year-olds don't know who they are. Most 20-year-olds don't know who they are.
And by 50, you've been forced by the medical industry to become disturbingly comfortable with yourself and intimate.
That too.
Yeah, because things have been done to you by medical professionals where you've got to be comfortable.
Listen, all you have to do is give birth to twins and you'll look up and there's 35 people in the room.
Yeah.
There's no more modesty.
Yeah. Modesty, dignity, privacy, they're all gone.
They're gone.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Great talking to you. Okay, Russell, hit the button.